The title of my message is A Point of Contact for Your Faith. First of all, what do you use a point of contact for? How do you use it? What does a point of contact do when you use it? First, a point of contact focuses your attention upon God. It turns your mind toward Christ. It has the ability to focus, to take your mind and cause it to cease from wandering and going in all directions, so that your mind is focused and you put your thoughts upon God, upon what God has promised He wants you to have, to be, instead of worrying about the future, wondering what's going to happen to you, expecting this to happen or that to happen. You simply stop and turn your mind toward the living God, the creator of your being, the great power that's out there somewhere that loves you and understands you and knows the very desire of your heart. You turn your mind toward God. You focus your thoughts, your attention upon Him, and you actually become one with your point of contact. Now, in the second place, when you use a point of contact, you set the time. And through setting the time, you reach a point of expectation. If I said to you, I will meet you, and you said, when? And I said, oh, anytime. And you said, where? And I said, oh, anywhere. You and I would never meet. Isn't that right? But if I said I would meet you, and you said when and where, and I said, well, I will meet you here at the big tent tomorrow evening at 7:30. You and I would expect to meet. We would set the time. We'd set the place. We would reach a point of expectation. We would expect to meet at a certain place and time, and there we would get together. Now, many people never have been able to bring their faith to a certain time. They have not set the time. They have not come to an hour of decision where they will actually put their faith into action. They're always thinking about it, and they're going to do it, but they never decide that now or a certain time is the hour. You set the time, and when you set the time, that becomes your point of expectation. And third, when you use a point of contact, you make all your believing a definite act of faith. Now, your faith is really what you believe. But you can believe and have a belief without putting that belief into practice, without making that faith a definite act of faith. For example, you can believe that God can heal your body, but until that believing, that faith of yours becomes a definite single act, then your healing probably will never come. What you believe must come to a climax. The faith you have in God to save your soul or heal your body must become one single act of faith. All of your faith must come to a head, a peak, a point, a climax. It reaches a point to where suddenly it goes rushing from your heart toward the living God. And in that moment of released faith, you feel the power of God come upon your flesh or upon your soul to set you free. Faith is quick. The healing power of God is quick. The force of it strikes immediately. Now, we may approach it gradually. And because we are slow and gradual, we may have the feeling that God works with us gradually, but it is not true. The power of God strikes people. There's an impact. There is a moment of feeling. You may not feel it the moment I feel it, for example. Or you may feel it at a time different to the time that I feel it. But whenever it comes, it's very strong. You are aware that something extraordinary is happening to you. Your person is being visited by God. It may be your soul that's receiving divine forgiveness through the gift of salvation. It may appear to you that it's a gradual thing that slips upon you, and you feel a little of it, and you feel more tomorrow and more the next day. It may occur to you that way. It is only your senses not being able to respond to it as they should. Maybe your distance from God has been very great. Maybe your thoughts about God have been weak, and as a result, you do not feel the power of God as you would if suddenly your soul was opened up. Because the moment your soul opens to God, there's an impact. The Spirit of God comes upon you. The same is true in divine healing. You may feel a mere brush of the Spirit of God. It may be like a faint wind blowing or a tingling like an electrical current, a very small, infinitesimal thing. But when your mind fully opens and your faith is completely released, the healing force of God makes a tremendous impact upon your flesh. Your whole body sings and tingles with the glory of his healing power. The point of contact, in the fourth place, accomplishes something equally great with these other three. Your receiving from God will be challenged by the devil. Anyone who receives salvation will be challenged the next day, the next week by the devil, who will say, you did not get saved. Anyone who receives a healing will be challenged by the devil. That's when you need to hold to that point of contact and cling to it and say, devil, you will not foster that disease or that sin upon me again. I let my faith go to God. And you're holding on to your point of contact. A point of contact focuses your attention upon God. A point of contact helps you to set the time for the releasing of your faith. The point of contact actually becomes an act of release when your faith rushes out of you toward God. And fourth, your point of contact becomes a force to which your faith holds after the miracle. So, not only does a point of contact help you release your faith and attain or receive from God and for God, but it helps you keep what you get from God.